botanical garden. This one that we have over here, it was created by a French landscaper called Charles Taillis in what used to be his residence. Charles Taillis designed quite a large amount of parks and gardens, not only in Buenos Aires, but also in the main provinces, in the main cities of Argentina. And well, it's right over here where he used to have his residence, and in the park he created this botanical garden.
Tomorrow for
Patagonia. Patagonia, nice. Yeah.
Tomorrow then I come back again with my friends in Italy.
Nice. Good. Where in Patagonia? Ushuaia,
Calafate.
Calafate. You too? Entry, the border of the city. All that we've been through now were farmlands, right? And if we were in the end of the 19th century, we would be just entering the city now. The avenue that we are taking now is Alvear Avenue. This is one of the fanciest avenues that we have in Buenos Aires. It's also one of the areas in our city that we find the architecture most similar to Paris, right at the end of the 19th century. As we will see later during the tour, Argentina became a pretty wealthy country, and when this happened, we decided that we wanted to look like the big European capital cities, especially like Paris. France at that moment was living its Belle Epoque, so, well, the whole world was looking at France, and so were we. So we started bringing in European architects and landscapers to check. Guys, let's see, we've already seen it with some of you, but not with some others.
No, please.
Take a look at this beautiful building ahead of us, and to the right, the white building with a black roof. That was a residence of a wealthy family here in Buenos Aires, the Pereda family. In the year 1945, I'm correct, it was sold to the Brazilian government, and since that moment on, it became the residence of the Brazilian ambassador. And then straight ahead from us, we'll find another beautiful building. As we move forward, you'll see it better. That was also a private residence. And today we have right over there the French embassy. We get to see the flags of France, of the European community. Now the avenue that we are taking now, guys, it's the 9th of July Avenue. It has its name because of our Independence Day, which was the 9th of July of the year 1816. We love to say that this is the widest avenue in the world, but that's not true. That's just an overreaction of our ego, right? We have a huge ego over here, and we always want to have what is best, widest, biggest, worst. It doesn't matter if it's a good or a bad thing. The important thing is having the most of the superlative, right? And if we don't have it, we just make it up and pretend that we do, and that's it. We believe our own lies. We repeat it enough times until we believe our own lies. Unfortunately for us, guys, according to the Guinness Book of Records, the widest avenue in the world is not this one, but another one located in Brazil. So not only we don't have the widest avenue in the world, but we lost against Brazil, which, guys, is one of the worst things that can ever happen to us as Argentinians, right? That we are competing against Brazil almost over everything.
Where's the opera house?
The Opera House, it's 2 blocks on the right side.
Yeah, we walked there. Remember it was
If
raining
it
that
wasn't
night?
an avenue, maybe it could have been, you could have stayed in Corrientes Avenue. That
Yeah, I
is
think that's
close
it.
to the
There's a
Opera
hotel.
House, and it crossed.
Yeah. I think it was a hotel that had a number for me, like 710 or 715, something like that.
Well, we're going to one that it's 725.
Ah,
That it's also close to this, and maybe.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Wasn't as nice as the hotel was. What we're saying now is nice.
Well, now that we're going to Route 725, maybe you recognize it when you see it. Guys, on the next block to the right, you will find the Opera House, Teatro Colón. That is the most important opera house that we have here in Argentina, and it's among the most important ones in the world. Worldwide relevant, not only because of its size and architecture that are amazing, but especially because of the acoustic that it has, and it's really, really outstanding. We can see it here to the right. The Colón Theater can be toured. They have guided tours every half an hour. They last about an hour or so, have a cost of 300 pesos. Something really nice to do if you have the time and you're interested. And straight ahead from us, in a moment to our left, we will be able to see the obelisk, which is the white monument that we see right in the middle of the avenue. That monument, that obelisk, was built in the year 1936 to commemorate the 400 years of the first settlement of the Spaniards in Buenos Aires. The Spaniards arrived for the very first time here to this area in the year 1536. They settled the town over here, settlement that was unsuccessful, so it was left behind. And in the year 1580, they returned to found in a definitive way the city of Buenos Aires. So even though the foundational date of our city is 11th of June of the year 1580, before that there had been a settlement, which is what is commemorated with the monument that we have ahead of us now. That monument is a landmark here in Buenos Aires, of course, and it's one of the areas where people gather to express themselves. If we are happy, it's here where we come to celebrate. When we are not so happy, it's also here where we gather and protest, right? Same thing that happens with the May Square, which is an area that we will be visiting in a little bit. Both the obelisk and the May Square are the main areas in the city that we use to express ourselves.
The main story is where the women don't protest to disappear.
Exactly. We'll talk about it when we get there, but yes, it's right over there.
And do they still go every
They still go every Thursday around 3:30, 4 p.m. approximately. They march around the monument that is in the middle of the square. Actually, what it started as a group of women looking for their sons and daughters that had disappeared during this dictatorial government that we had, ended up being, I wouldn't say a political party, but it's a political group, right? A group of people that go right over there with all sorts of political statements that we might agree or disagree with, but had absolutely nothing to do with what brought them there for the first time. So painfully, the idea of this group of mothers has changed over the years, but while they still gather there using their white headscarf that identifies them and keeping the memory of their relatives alive.
I imagine almost all the mothers would be dead by now.
Yes, it happened two things. One of them is that 40 years have passed, some mothers are dead, some others, some mothers are dead, some others are not in a condition that they can go out and march. And then it also happened that this movement of the mothers of Maize were fragmented in different branches, each one of them thinking of a different way of continuing with their cause, right? So not all of them, not all the ones that can, come here to the square. But we do have a few mothers and other people that support their cause. And so we have, I wouldn't say a large amount of people, but we have a group that gathers there every Thursday, 3:30, 4 p.m. and they march around. Very good, guys. I will ask you for a moment. I have to pick up a passenger here across the street, and then when we are all together, we head to the Maize Square a few blocks away from here.
This is
This is the hotel.